What is going on, guys? Today I want to talk about the Dorsey Wright funds. I know they've been released for, several weeks now, and I have not had a chance to take a look at them. But today I'm going to look at those funds and see what their objectives are. So on their website, you can find those funds under the Dorsey Wright ETF funds. So there's two of them here. Let's look at this first one here. This one is ticker symbol FEAT. It is a Dorsey Wright featured 5 income ETF. It's a passively managed ETF that aims to track the performance of the NASDAQ Dorsey Wright Tactical Option Income Strategy Index. So I wasn't really even familiar with this index, so that's pretty interesting. Obviously this fund includes a lot of risk, so do understand that. Scrolling down a little bit, the fund overview. It seeks to track the performance of the NASDAQ Dorsey Wright Tactical Option Income Strategy Index. What a mouthful there. The index relatively exclusively selects YieldMax ETFs, specifically those that provide long exposure to single company or more exchange-traded products. The companies or exchange-traded under such YieldMax ETFs are often referred to as underlying securities. For example, Tesla is the underlying security of the YieldMax Tesla Option Income Strategy ETF, TESLI. So the index selects for inclusion the 5 YieldMax ETFs that correspond to the 5 underlying securities that rank the highest according to the Dorsey Wright proprietary momentum rating methodology. So it looks like it's a momentum rating methodology that they are using to select 5 of YieldMax's ETFs. So pretty cool. So there are usually 5 components in the index, and at each monthly rebalance, each component is equally weighted. Okay, so scrolling down a little bit, we will see what funds they are holding. So it looks like there's a management fee of 0.29% and a acquired fund fees of 0.99% for a gross of 1.28%. Looks like so far they have 7 million assets under management. And it was introduced to the market on December 16th. Looking at the top holdings, not a surprise here. Misty is coming in at the largest holding, followed by Meta, then Coinbase, then Netflix, Tesla, and then, a money market fund. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So pretty cool. So it sounds like there is a proprietary momentum-based index strategy that goes out and finds the best momentum play ETFs to look at. Let's go to total real returns, which I don't think they've even produced a distribution yet. So 2024, I think it was terrible timing for them when they released this fund because there was a pretty significant pullback. So let's look at this. So we can't see it on Google for some reason. Let's see if Yahoo Finance has some data here for us. Looking at the past 6 months. Yeah, so it opened up at $50 per share on December 17th, and it's dropped 8% since then. And, once I mentioned earlier, the market did pull back the last couple of weeks. But yeah, this is where we're currently at, $48.21. And, like we talked about, they're holding those 5 YieldMax funds. So they have not paid a dividend yet. So stay tuned for that. All right, let's look at the next one on the list. This one is the FIVY, the Dorsey Wright Hybrid 5 income ETF. So it looks like there's another index they're targeting. Still same thing, you know, they're wanting to select single stock ETFs that rank the highest based upon this proprietary momentum rating methodology. So each fund receives a 12% weight, and each underlying security receives an 8% weight, resulting in a hybrid index with 60% yield max and 40% exposure to the underlying securities of those YieldMax ETFs. So this is going to be an interesting one to see for sure. Same idea. It's about $7 million assets under management. The expense ratio is a little bit cheaper, right? Because they're actually purchasing the underlying security for part of their holdings. So cool. So we see that MST is equating for $885,000 of this fund, followed by Meta, Coin, Netflix, Tesla. But then also they have the direct underlying invested as well, right? So MicroStrategy, Coinbase, Meta, Tesla, and Netflix. So this is pretty interesting. This is a different strategy for sure. I was not aware of this, but this is pretty cool, right? So just scrolling back up here again, looking at the fund overview, right? So it says there are usually a total of 10 components in the index, and at each monthly rebalance, each YieldMax ETF receives 12%, and each underlying security receives an 8% weight. This results in a hybrid index with 60% exposure to YieldMax ETFs and 40% exposure to the underlying securities of those YieldMax ETFs. So this is going to be really cool to see how this one performs as well. Let's look at FIVY ETF and kind of see how that one's compared. So this one is actually showing up. Year to date, it's up 8%. So 48.65. Okay. So that is that's pretty cool there the past 6 months. Let's see how this one's compared. Really, it's been really the past month, right? When did this one come out? Did it come out around the same time, December 17th? Yeah, same time. For some reason, this chart is not updating for me. Okay, so it's performing a little bit better than the other one. So that's interesting. So it's currently at 48.71, whereas FEAT was 45.95. Yeah, so it's 48.21 versus 48.71. So they're pretty close, but it does look like FIVY is performing a little bit better so far for those two funds. But yeah, pretty cool. Let's look at the schedule and see when these guys are going to be getting paid out. So you can find that on YieldMax ETF's website right here. Go to their distribution schedule. They're not a weekly payer, but they are throwing them into the Group A ETFs, which is coming up this upcoming week, right? So Group A is going to be this next week. Today is January 18th, but this upcoming week, Wednesday will be the declaration date. Ex-dividend date will be Thursday. And then we will see the first payment for these two new funds next Friday. So stay tuned for that. Once again, those two new funds are FEAT and FIVY. They're both Dorsey Wright momentum plays. This one holds the direct underline, whereas this one does not. This just holds the YieldMax version of it. But yeah, pretty cool. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below. Are you guys interested in these two new Dorsey Wright momentum ETFs? Would love to hear your thoughts. I'll be interested to see what kind of yields these funds are producing. And yeah, should be interesting to see. Needless to say, Those will be coming out this week, as well as one of their new weekly payers will be paying their first distribution this week as well, and that is LFGY. So stay tuned for all of that. This is going to be a big week for, not only the United States with Inauguration Day being on Monday, but YieldMax paying out some first-time dividends for some of their new funds, right? So LFGY, they're going to be paying this week, and then the two Dorsey Wright funds will be paying this week as well.